Welcome to the Somatic Coaching Academy podcast with Ani and Brian. Join us as we explore the art and science of trauma-sensitive somatic practices and tools to strengthen your practice as a coach, therapist, or holistic professional. Master the art of motivating even the most challenging clients when you'll understand how to tap into and unlock your client's complete holistic intelligence. If you want to learn the most cutting-edge, research-supported skills for personal and professional mastery, you've come to the right place. Let's get this conversation started.
Hi, and welcome to the Somatic Coaching Academy podcast. My name's Ani Anderson.
And I'm Brian Trzaskos. And of course, at the Somatic Coaching Academy, that's the place that we teach coaches and holistic practitioners how to help their own clients access their complete human intelligence.
Hey, Brian, before we get into episode number 4, I would just like to introduce ourselves a little bit more so that some people are getting to know us for the first time. And so you have an idea of our backgrounds. So I am an occupational therapist. That's what my master's degree is in. And Brian is a physical therapist. We have a lot of similar certifications and degrees, but we also have ones that are different. So we're both massage therapists. We're both Tai Chi and Qigong instructors. What else do you have going on after your
Strength and conditioning, manual therapy, kind of like chiropractic type stuff.
Oh yeah, I've got craniosacral therapy and somatic emotional release.
Yeah. So strength, did I say strength conditioning?
did.
Yeah. So energy medicine, motivational mapping, trauma informed and trauma sensitive certifications.
Right. I'm a certified energy medicine practitioner, and I'm a certified ICF coach too.
Nice.
I think that
I've got about 5 Tai Chi form certifications too. So
right.
Big chunk of stuff in there.
I think between the two of us, we have about 30 or so certifications. Anyway, I just wanted to give you a little background on us if you didn't know, because sometimes people want to know, hey, where'd you learn somatic coaching? And actually, somatic coaching found its way through us, through all of the other things that we had studied. That's a topic for another day. Today, Brian, what are we talking about?
Today we're going to talk about why most coaches and practitioners actually lose money on the holistic certifications that they spend so much time and effort in earning.
And we did.
Yeah.
I mean, we just rattled off a bunch of ours. Boy, we have a lot of certifications. And Brian, I don't know about you, but maybe not in the beginning, but certainly after my first few, I would take a certification. Oh, like Reiki. Forgot, I've got that one. And I would then think to myself, because I have this certification, it means that my business is just going to explode.
Yeah, everybody's going to see it. I remember after PT school, I graduated 30 years ago from physical therapy school. And right afterwards, I got a certification in strength and conditioning. I wanted to be able to work with athletes and football players and soccer players and all these. I just had this dream of helping athletes. And of course, so I earned this certification, and I thought that as soon as I earned it, somehow like a billboard would go up in the universe or something, that everybody would all of a sudden know it and start calling me to work with them. And that didn't happen.
Yeah, well, you were in your day job at the time?
Yeah, I was working a day job, but I was looking for, hey, a little extra work wouldn't hurt too. But
I know, it's funny, right? Because when we're employees, I mean, just because you have more credentials does not mean anything for your salary. So both of us started in the Western medical system in rehab. And I remember I graduated from college, Brian, and my very first job, I was the head of OT.
Yeah.
Now it was just me, but still, I was that was my title. And I remember thinking, as soon as I get out, like, I've got nowhere to go. Right. Like, but even as rehab therapists, we had to take continuing education.
Yep.
So my first certification was in craniosacral therapy, if I remember correctly. Yeah. And did nothing to my salary. My next one did nothing to my salary.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So
same thing. Yeah, I was racking up certifications, and my my employers weren't necessarily like, oh, good for you, here's some extra money.
No.
They were like, good for you, you can add value to what you're doing here already, and sort of thing. And it was kind of like, in a lot of ways, getting these holistic certifications was kind of like I was going to say like a self-development path, but not necessarily. It was just, it was something that to really grow. I guess it was kind of to grow yourself in a lot of ways, but it
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily going to add tangible value in terms of monetary outcomes when you're working for somebody else.
Well, you actually had an interesting story about realizing that people were asking for you and you were like working harder than other people.
Yeah, right. So it's down the line when I was working at a hospital, before I made my leap to starting my own practice. One of the things that was happening was that I noticed that I was seeing, like four patients an hour sort of thing. So I was really busy, and I'd be running in and out of the office that I was working in, and not having much time to spend actually with my patients doing manual therapy, which is what I just loved to do at that time. That was my jam. I mean, people came to see me for manual therapy. Of course, the more people that came to see me, the less time I had to spend with each person. That kind of felt a little bit contrived. But anyway, I remember being really busy and running in and out of the office. And every time I run in and out of the office, there was a PT that I would work with that was always sitting in her chair in the office, like she hadn't moved in hours as I'm running back. Every time I come in, she's in the same place. And I'm like, did she fall asleep there or something like that? It's like, and so I got curious and I went to the front desk and I looked at the booking calendar, and I noticed that I was booked all day long. And this other therapist only had like 4 or 5 people in a whole day. And I asked the receptionist, I said, hey, what's up? I said, why am I seeing everybody and this other person only has 4 or 5 people booked? And her answer was, Brian, they keep asking for you. And so I was like, oh, well, if they're asking for me that much here, like they can ask for me in my own clinic. And so that was kind of my a little nudge for me to believe in myself enough to start my own practice. And I think a lot of that did come from spending a lot of time investing in myself a lot to gain these holistic certifications that eventually kind of paid off. But the thing is, even going off on my own, having all these certifications, I had all these amazing skills. That we've talked about this a lot too, Ani, but that doesn't necessarily automatically mean that you're going to earn money in a business
More
just by
money.
just by having the skills, even when you're out on your own.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you're reminding me too that a lot of people do use their holistic certifications to break out of their day jobs.
Yeah,
And it's a fantastic way to do it, by the way.
super,
It's
super good. Yeah.
right, like that's a good business move to use your holistic certification in order to break out and do your own thing. But I think it's worthy of mentioning here that breaking out and doing your own thing is actually a way that people grow themselves. Like when I'm thinking when you're in the Western medical system, you're up against this glass ceiling,
Yeah.
like basically as soon as you graduate. I mean, for crying out loud, PTs nowadays are graduating with
Mhm.
doctorates, and then it's like the glass ceiling's right there as soon as they graduate. But anyway, um, there isn't this path for continued growth and development a lot of times where people are in their jobs, or people are in jobs like get me out of here, it's sucking my
Yeah.
soul. So a natural evolution for our professional
Hmm.
development actually is to go out on our own. And in order to do that, we need to develop business
Business skills.
skills
Yeah.
to do it. That didn't occur to me at first. When I left the system, oh boy. I mean, I hated my job. I had to get out of there. But I also was seeing people part-time on the side, and I
Hmm.
knew that I enjoyed that a whole lot more. I was also at that stage. I think I was 23 or 24, Brian. I did not have a family yet. And I do like to tell people at that point, I was just young and stupid. I was like,
Yeah.
I don't need a paycheck. I'm gonna go do this on
Yeah.
my
Oh,
own,
yeah.
which it worked because I needed to make money, and I did make money. It was great. But I also was, I think, a little naive at that time. And so I had all this gusto and this momentum and all this youth behind me to just like get out there and do it. But I had to develop business skills to be able to make it work. At that time, I did a lot of stuff right
Hmm.
that I didn't recognize I was doing right until later. I think especially when I started helping other people to grow their businesses, their holistic businesses, I was like, oh, well, this is how I did it. And I started to see trends. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh, there's trends here to really help people to do this more quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think for both of us, it's like it was a lot of on the front lines. Like
Yeah.
I didn't go to get an MBA. I mean, neither did you, but it was a lot of just like working in the trenches and working with some good coaches too, but
Yeah.
really working in the trenches to just figure
Figure
out
things out.
what really worked. Because with every certification that I got, I really was under this illusion that just the better, if I'm really, really good at something, like build it and they will come.
Right.
And that doesn't work. That
No.
actually doesn't work that way. Now,
Yeah.
I think the whole story around build it and they will come is actually a great story around faith, having faith in yourself. So I actually agree with that a lot. But you have to have more than faith. You have to be able to organize your offerings. I mean, so you can be really, really good at what you do, but if you can't organize your offerings, if you can't
You have to order.
if you can't value yourself enough in order to ask for a equitable exchange in value for what you're offering, then it just doesn't work. And those are a lot of those hard skills that no other certification program that I was a part of never taught me how to do that. They taught me the thing. They taught me the Tai Chi form, the Qigong form. They taught me the manual therapy. They taught me how to teach people to meditate, taught me how to teach people how to do push-ups to do and circuit train. I mean, all that stuff, even PT school, right? It taught me how to help people rehab all kinds of parts of their body. But no one ever said, if you want to earn money for yourself, this is how you organize it. I didn't learn that at all.
It's like build it and they will come if you sell and market it well.
Right. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you need those skills.
Yep.
And we find with our community and our students, not everybody wants to talk or think about that, but what they do really want is they want to make an impact.
Yeah.
And so to your point, there comes this time when people are gathering holistic certification after holistic
Yeah.
certification after holistic certification, and they're not really making the impact that they really want to make.
Mhm.
A lot of our students actually are bridging over to leaving jobs to doing their own
Yeah.
thing. And one of the reasons is because they've gotten the certifications and they still haven't been able to get the traction they need to
Right.
start their own business. And then other people are in business and want more traction because they want to make a bigger impact. But there's this moment when, I don't know, what is it, to your 10th, your
Mhm.
5th, your 15th, I don't know, holistic certification. And
Yeah.
you're like, I'm so good.
I'm so good. I'm an expert of an expert at what I'm doing.
I'm so good. And then sometimes people want to know from us, well, why on earth would I come get another certification with you guys?
Yeah. It's a great question.
Why do I need another certification? And one of the things that we see with our students that's so pivotal is it's the somatic practices that we teach our students that help them to actually do the business skills that they
Mhm.
need to really be successful.
Yeah.
And we teach them the business skills too. That's baked into all of our certification programs. And really, I think the reason that we did that is because we were tired of spending money on certification programs, learning
Yeah.
skills that didn't teach us how to grow our businesses with those skills. But it's this real
Mhm.
interesting marriage of we do teach the business skills. We do. And
To a high degree,
to
actually,
a
right?
very high degree.
Yeah. And once our students are in with us, like to say, once someone's like walks through the doorway of the
We got
Somatic
you.
Coaching Academy, like we have you with Ani leads monthly office hours and regular business development trainings, all within the community
And we have all kinds
already.
of bonus material for you, like hours and hours and hours of business building things. And see, this is what I love so much about it. In order to make those business skills work,
Mhm.
the somatic tools and techniques are what people need to do to be
Yeah.
able to get. Because I've also been, Brian, in the kind of the flip on the opposite side of the
Mhm.
table, where I've been teaching people business skills, but they don't have the somatic skills.
Yeah.
And sometimes that can be
Yeah.
overwhelming, or they
Sure.
just don't like it, or they feel like they don't understand it, or they can't get themselves to do it. And so it's this wonderful marriage of the somatic
Mhm.
skills with the business skills that really help our clients to have
Yeah,
success.
it really is so important because the business skills just do not come naturally. I mean, unless you grew up in an entrepreneurial
Yeah.
family with a business owner, then they would come naturally. But for most people who grew up in families where their parents went off and worked jobs, like that's what we become indoctrinated with. And so a lot of business is just being able to learn how to really deeply value yourself at a cellular level. And I think that's really where the somatic practices, tools, and skills that we teach our students that go hand in hand with what they're
Yeah.
learning is what Ani's saying, to really help them really alter themselves at a genetic level, epigenetic DNA level, around valuing themselves to such a degree where they can actually generate the business acumen to really bring forth those skills in the world. Because it doesn't really matter, I guess, like how many amazing skills you have, if they don't get out into the world,
Oh, it's so
then that's so
painful.
painful.
It's so painful to hear you say that, but it's true because there's so many talented individuals. They're so good. They're so caring, really
Mm,
care about
yeah.
people, and so good at what they do. But they just can't get people to sign up. They just can't get people to come. They just can't get that full
Hmm.
caseload that they really want to be able to feel like they're making a difference, to be able to feel like their life has meaning and purpose and
Yeah.
like they're making the impact that they really want to make. And that's possible. We tell our students it's our mission to get somatic coaching out there in the world. And we can't do it if we don't help you succeed and help you get clients to be able to do this work with.
Mm.
That way it's win-win.
Yeah. And one of the things I just want to kind of bring up too here, Ani, is we're talking about business skills, let's say. A lot of the students we work with, and probably a lot of the people that are kind of listening to us right now, there's a bit of a negative association with the idea of business.
Oh, yes.
Like we look at
Yeah.
other people who have been successful in business and we're like, oh my God, but look what they're ripping people off. Look what you have to do to be successful in business. I need to rip people off. I need to lie to people. I need to cheat people. I need to hide money from people. Like you kind of look at all these dramatic stories that happen in the world of people that are just doing really bad things to each other from a business perspective. And and that happens in the world. Let's just be honest. That does
It
happen in the
does.
world. And we might think, well, gosh, they're out there winning, doing it that way. And I don't want to have to do it that way. But we also have to see that, you know, they're not necessarily winning. Like lots of times, if you watch the trajectory of those people's lives, they end up in a lot of legal trouble,
Yeah.
potentially. Their relationships fall apart. They end up being in the news, on the tabloids. I don't want that kind of life, to be honest with you. So, what we're really invested in is helping our students change themselves at the core so that the way they have a generative and an amazing abundant business is not a way where it extracts from other people's lives, but it adds to everyone's lives. And I would argue that the people who have those types of extractive type businesses that you see eventually in the news and in court, they have not done the deep self-development work to be
Right.
able to offer what they offer in the world in a way that's really equitable and lifts everyone around them. And that's why they end up in those kinds of problems. So there is a different way to do this. That's what I want to,
There
that's what we really help the mindset shift that we can help our students make.
There is, and sometimes I joke and say it's the B word. Business is the B
Mm,
word with students, but there are different things that we'll talk about during the course of training where people will get activated, whether it's the word profit or
mm.
it is the word business or influence, or
Sales,
sales or
yeah.
marketing. And that is what I love so much about being as a part of the certification programs is when that activation happens and people feel what it feels like to be talking about those things in their bodies. We do the work and they do the work with the somatic tools to be able to rewire their nervous system so
Mhm,
they can be a part of that conversation rather than apart from those
mhm.
conversations. Because when we can be a part of conversations about leadership and engagement and wellness and organizational work and all of these things, when we can be a part of those conversations, we really can make the impact and the difference
Yeah.
that we want to make in the world. And we can see those holistic certifications that we have pay
Off.
off.
Yeah.
We see, I love when our students see this kind of like coming full circle. I feel like it's like putting the bow on the package. They say this was the missing
Missing
link,
link. Yeah.
this
Yep.
was the missing link. And it really is like putting this bow on this beautiful package that they've been working on for their whole
Yeah.
lives,
Yeah. It's really amazing.
Yeah.
So I think, if we're going to think about kind of wrapping up our episode number 4 here with a hot tip, around holistic certifications. I think my hot tip is when you're looking at any holistic certification that you're looking to invest in, to learn more from, take a really good look at what the marriage is with the skill you're learning and the business development that goes along with it. So someone's going to teach you a something to do. Are they also giving you a clear avenue with how to bring it into the world to really amplify your impact? Or are they leaving you on an island to do that by yourself? Because I think from what we're talking about is have been in that type of relationship. Not that some of those certifications I have received haven't been valuable, right? They've really helped me become an expert. However, I also think how much time I lost if there was a business component along with them, a very clear way to bring that into the world, how much further along I would have been, how much faster I would have been there. So that's kind of my hot tip. Always look at, am I getting the yin and the yang of this? Am I both getting the skill, and I'm also getting a way to deliver the skill that's very, very clear, so that I can be successful in the world.
So you're probably getting an idea. In our community, we talk about somatic skills. We talk about the business of somatics as well. So if that's what you're into, that's what we're into. We're so excited that you're part of our community. And we'd love it if you would subscribe to the podcast and hey, leave us some feedback. We're just kind of getting rolling here. We want to know what you want to learn about. We want to know what we said that sparked an interesting insight for you. So make sure you leave us a review so that other people know, hey, come on over to this community too, and we can do this together. It's always one of our favorite things that our students say that they love about Somatic Coaching Academy is the community. So we're really excited that you're a part of it. So thanks, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode. We hope that this conversation will help you improve your practice and change the way you think about your work, your clients, and yourself. Continue your exploration of trauma-sensitive somatic coaching by listening to more podcast episodes at somaticcoachingacademy.com. You could be the trusted guide that people turn to help them with their most challenging situations and to reach their most precious goals. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.